There we go. Music just stopped in my head. All right. Sorry for the pause. Yo, 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 yo. What is going on? How's everybody doing today? Thank y'all for tuning in today. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's today? Today Tuesday? Today Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. We are here. We made it to hump day. So far, so good. We are at hump day. Hopefully everybody's feeling good, feeling well, and, you know, enjoying life and all that good stuff. Make it through your work day and all that goodness and in your work week. And if you're having a bad day, let Mr. Child break it down to you.
Oh, you're having a bad day? Did you die?
I got shot.
But did you die?
And as long as you didn't become unalive, you are blessed and you should be grateful to see another day on this great earth. This great thing that we call life, this great game that we get to play called life. It might be a little strange at times, but hey, at least you get to play. At least you get to be above ground. There's no greater gift than the gift of life, and we are here for it. Ain't that right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But today, man, on hump day, we have quite a few things going on, but we are simultaneously streaming on 4 different platforms. We are on YouTube, we're on Twitch, Kick, and Rumble. So if you're on any one of those 4 platforms, especially YouTube, do me a favor, hit the like button as you'll see right there coming up. Bam, hit that like button if you're on YouTube, any other platforms. Just subscribe, hit the subscribe button and all that goodness. Leave a comment, talk trash, say something positive, negative. It don't matter to me. All the same. At the end of the day, it all works out in my favor. And if you want to contribute to today's show, bam, there's the Cash App and the Venmo. Cash App Daniel2888, Venmo Danny-Daniel-00. Yes, sir. And we got our subjects, our topics that we're going to go over today. Excuse me, the first topic we're going to go over is fitness. We're going to go over fitness and talk about the Trend Twins. If you know anything about the fitness realm, the Trend Twins, might as well just call them the roid trends, the steroid trends. Or twins, whatever you want to call them. Anyway, these guys said that they are going natty. So I don't know how they're going to go natural when your whole identity, your whole business motto is based off of doing steroids. So we're going to see how that goes. Hopefully they don't have any consequences or repercussions, which they might, because that withdrawal effect is going to be a, you know what I mean? So the withdrawals on those is probably going to be super hella hectic. So they're going to probably have good content coming out in the near future because all the roids and the withdrawals is going to be just tearing them up. So they just might have to relapse to stay alive. But yes, and then also we're going to jump over into the economy portion of the show right after that. And we're going to go ahead and check out the real ID and CBDC. Boy, let me tell you. The real ID and CBDC in one sentence, man, it's going to be some vicious. We're going to see right now. We're going to take a look during that portion of the show, and we're going to see exactly what the real ID is in case you don't know, and how it ties in with CBDC and what are the dangers that it could potentially cause on how we will be living and functioning in a society here in the very near future. So yes, sir, be ready for that. Be on the lookout for that and all that goodness. And then the last and final thing we have is we have AI. And what is the AI topic for today? Did I forget? I sure did forget. The topic for AI today is going to be that we have came across some information, or I guess a video, which you can take with a grain of salt, but we're going to watch it. We're going to see AIs talk amongst each other, and they realize that they're talking to AI when they're talking. And then they decide to go into a coded language that only the AI can understand. So once they realized that this AI was talking to this AI, they established that each other were AI, and then they went in and started talking their own coded language in EI gibberish. So yeah, we're gonna see how that pans out. I don't think that's gonna be too good, but we're gonna see how that works out for sure, because boy, oh boy. Could you imagine AI realizes AI and then decide we're going to speak in a whole AI language that nobody knows? In my personal opinion, I think they're speaking in a whole different dialect from like way back in time that a civilization then got massacred off and don't speak no more. So to us, it's like an unknown tongue, but it's some tongue that was spoken back in like 16,000 BC type stuff. You know what I mean? Yes. So we got a nice little show going on today. So we do have quite a few topics to cover. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. Is my thing working right there? Is that working? Let me check this real quick. I think it is, or maybe it's not, but we'll find out here in a minute as we know it's not working. Oh man, sad news, but oh well, we can't let that stop the show. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and start and hop right into the show. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, we have some breaking news. Oh yeah, go ahead and put a thumbs up for it. We got some breaking news that just came out today. Yeah, it came out today, maybe like 4 or 5 hours ago, maybe 6 hours ago. I'm not sure, but it did come out today. So we're gonna start the show off with some breaking news. Are y'all ready to hear what this breaking news is gonna be? Because I'm curious too. I need a freaking drum roll. But you know what? Breaking news. Let's get ready. All right, here we go. We're gonna pull up the breaking news on the screen. All right, are y'all ready for this? Here it goes. Here it goes. Here it goes. Bam. Oh boy, let's see what that says right there. We have who is that? Does anybody know who that is? I think we do know who that is. It says breaking: Sean Diddy Combs attempted napper, attempted sonist, and abetted driving trafficking charges have been dropped by prosecutors. Oh boy, good Lord. Oh man, you know what? Maybe they tried him for the wrong charges. I mean, they said he was attempted napping, he was attempted sonist, and he was an attempted RN. We'll say attempted RN and abetted worldwide trafficking. And all charges have been dropped by the prosecutors. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess Cassie wasn't really concerned about really getting him locked behind bars. She just wanted to embarrass him and humiliate him, plus snag him for $30 million, which she did. So I think her mission was technically accomplished, because at the end of the day, she took $30 million. And we all know about Mr. Man with the baby oils, and we know about his freak offs and having other men drop lotion on themselves, and he rub in another man's lotion. My goodness. Yeah. So Mr. Man has been he has been removed. All charges have been dropped, and I guess this case shall be over with. Now, what we gonna have to see next is how he's gonna retaliate when he get out of jail, because you know he pissed. Oh, I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing at the fact that, like, according to what we learned about Diddy during this case, if you grew up in an era I grew up in, right, we all didn't think Diddy was the menace that we found out that he was. We thought Suge Knight was way worse than Diddy, but come to find out, bruh, Diddy was just as bad, if not worse, than Suge. Jesus. So if I can't say if, I'm gonna have to say when he gets out, because if charges are dropped, there's nothing to hold him in for. So now when Diddy gets out, oh boy, I'm telling you, somebody's gonna be in some serious trouble. Ain't that right, Chippy? You see that, Chippy? Mr. Combs here has been released or relieved. All charges have been dropped. Yes, it has happened. When they get out, they gonna be in trouble. Shout out, Miss Chippy. How are you doing today? How you doing, Beesh? How's life treating you, Beesh? It's good to hear from you. It's good to see you. Yeah, man. Diddy's been dropped the charges, and boy, oh boy, what was it? Kid Cudi, who was dealing with his girl, or I guess you can call it his girl, his partner, his freak off partner, whatever. Allegedly, Diddy had went ahead and 1990s action heroed his car, sort of say. You know, he kind of exploded the man's car. It kind of was like, from what I hear, it sounded like this. It was like, so even he went in to testify during Diddy's case or whatever, or during his thing, but I guess he came out good. Everything was not too bad, not too shabby. So hey, he made it. But now that Diddy is out of jail, or when Diddy gets out of jail, boy, oh boy, I'm finna be eating a lot of popcorn watching how this gonna unravel, because people gonna people gonna be shuffling, boy. They gonna be thinking like, dang, he ain't go to jail. Diddy gonna walk right out. Diddy gonna walk right out to everybody that showed up to court and testify. He gonna look all of them in their face and he gonna say this.
He didn't say that. Tell me he didn't just say that.
Diddy gonna walk up to him. He gonna say.
You having a bad day? Did you die?
I got shot.
But did you die?
This is gonna be a trip. This is gonna be a trip to see, man. But yeah, that's the breaking news for the day before we start the show off. But let's go ahead and get into the show actually and start off with the first topic of the show, which is going to be the fitness portion of the show. We're going to start our show off with Mr. Good old Greg Doucette. Fair use. Welcome to the show. He's going to talk about the Trend Twins who are going natty. I don't understand how you're going natty when your whole freaking business motto is based off of taking steroids, but you know, to each his own. You know, you live and you learn. You know, all your sins can, you know, be taken away. You just don't do them no more. And I just don't know how they're gonna run the business. And I just hopefully that their withdrawals don't hurt them too bad, because the withdrawals is something serious. I mean, I've had withdrawals before, and I can only imagine what withdrawals would feel like on steroids, bruh. Like seriously, like I don't know how you can do it, but we're gonna see how they handle it. But anyway, we're going to pull this first video up. Shout out Greg Doucette, fair use. Trend Twins are going natty, and we're going to have to see how this pans out. So here we go. We got the banner up. We're going to go ahead and get the video started. They're going to think you're like a, oh man, let's just get it started. Take it away, Greg.
They're going to think you're like homophobic.
I'm not at all. My boyfriend's gay.
Your boyfriend's gay?
Yeah. Secret. Sean Ray. It doesn't count because he's black. You're white. It's like you can't give me what they cannot give me. He's black. It's not about this. No. No.
It's just about talking.
That and he swallowed. Coach Greg, in today's video, the Trend Twins, they go natty. They literally decided to stop blasting performance enhancing.
And you know, like how I always say, if you, what's my slogan? How does it go? If you are not natty, then your pockets are fatty, because it just seems like the more steroids you do, the bigger your pocketbook gets. But according to everybody that's done the steroids, the side effects are horrendous. But hey, at least they get to cry in their McLarens and their Maseratis and Lamborghinis. So however you want to look at it, high risk, high reward. But I guess you can live with the rewards and deal with the risk, in my opinion.
Drugs, they're going to come off. Now, I don't want to clickbait the video for too long, and so it's only going to be for 3 months. But they're actually going to come off. And so they've been blasting for a hell of a long time, and it's time to take a break. Now, they're going to lose significant amounts of muscle. They do, in fact, know this, but they're going to do this to get their bodies healthy so that they can blast longer and harder than last time in order to achieve their IPB Pro cards. And
so they just taking a hiatus so their bodies can not be used to the immunity that their bodies have grown to over the time of them blasting roids. So they're just going on a fast. We're just gonna call it what it is. They're going on a fast. They're like, you know, we're gonna take a break for a while. Kind of like if you ever used to smoke pot back in the day. Remember, you like, if you quit for a minute, oh man, I'm done. But then you come back like 6 months after not smoking and you get high for the first time again, and boy, you be zooted, you be out of there. So it sounds like that's what these gentlemen are doing. They're just kind of like taking a break and they just want to go harder. But I thought that they had their pro cards as far as bodybuilding goes. So I'm kind of like, why are you doing this if you ain't bodybuilding? I'm just saying, it's just my opinion, whatever. But let's continue. Here we go.
so will they be able to get it next year? I mean, first it started with Sam Sulik. We then had Will Tennyson, followed by Larry Wheels. And most recently, as in 2 days ago, Eric Janicki.
Quick come off steroids, but we got to get our pro card.
Like, I'm genuinely tweaking, bro.
And so he's clearly tweaking from being on the Blue Lobster. He had way too many scoops. Remember, this shit is stronger than last time. I strongly suggest you start with 1 scoop, work your way up to 2, and if you're a crazy person, you're loco, 3 full ass scoops.
All right, so these young gentlemen, they are both 24 or 25 years old. I think they both just turned 25 this year. So they've been blasting half their 20s, and who knows, they might have started whenever they were teenagers. I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, they're 25 years old. And just to give you an idea, so if you look at them and you think like, man, these men, it's like, well, they some young men. They only 25 years old, and they're finna take a break on the juice just so they can go harder and have it, I guess get the full effect, because they done got immune to the roids. So let's see how this goes.
I don't give a fuck. We're not bringing that energy into here right now.
And so, trust me, go easy on the pre-workout, or you're gonna be tweaking.
This summer, after we're done traveling, because we got a lot of traveling coming up, we're gonna come off till September, right? Because we need that break. We need to get our androgens back, right? And we'll just we'll be in a bulking phase until the Olympia is over.
I disagree with this. And so what's going to happen is throughout the summer, they're going to be off steroids. They're going to lose some muscle, perhaps let's call it about 10 pounds. Then following this, they're going to bulk through to the Olympia. And so why do that? Because if you go on a bulk, you're then going to have to go on a cut. And how did it work out for Mike Isertel? If you bulk too much, you have increased fat cells, which can stretch the skin. You have more skin cells.
Oh my goodness, look at this, yo. Oh my God, is it worth that? It's not worth it, bruh. Like, no. Jesus, like, come on, fam. That's fluids on the bed, and it looks like he's wearing. If this is what comes from steroids, I mean, they say hair loss, but Buddy got hair growth from the extreme amount of testosterone. Man, that is, if you're okay with this risk to reward, to each his own, do as you choose. Like I say, if you're not natty, your pockets are fatty. But man, if this is the consequence that you got to deal with, I will pass. Good God.
Cells, more skin, and then when you get older, well, you know you might need an operation. And so is it actually worth it to bulk up to this extent? No, it's not like they're 5 or 6% body fat. They don't need to bulk. They're at a healthy body fat percentage. Let's call it 12 to 14%. They can then maintain.
They had a healthy body weight because they 25. They better be at a healthy body weight at 25. Doing roids, for my assumption, the minimum of 5 years.
And then go on a cut. Why not do that? How is that a bad idea?
No, what I need to do right now is get as lean as possible.
And so Mikey's saying, no, I got to start getting as lean as possible. It's too early. And so here's the problem. I figured it out. People think that you either need to.
They remind me of some Jersey Shore kids, you know what I mean? Like, that's who they look like to me. They remind me of some Jersey Shore kids. Every time I think about the Jersey Shore kids, I think about the what is it called? The Real World. Yes, the Real World back in the day, where you had the Jersey Shore guys that was, you know, Paulie the DJ-ish. That's who they remind me of.
Going to bulk or going to cut? Should I bulk or should I cut? There's a middle option that's best for most people. Unless you're overweight, you should go on a cut. If you're underweight, you should go on a bulk. But for everyone else, you should maintain. You just eat. You have balance. You don't spit out your food, as we saw in the previous video.
You could just like chew up and spit it out like I did.
And so apparently the Trend twins, they spit, they don't swallow. What did he say?
Dude, that's what, right now we go natty, we run T3, T4, clem.
No. T4 and Clen. Why would we do that? Those are drugs that will increase your metabolism. You're going to burn more calories, but you know what's easier than burning off calories by speeding your metabolism? You just don't eat the food in the first place. I mean, has anyone thought of that? Calories in, calories out. Let's call it a 2,500 calorie diet. If you add in T3 or T4, you might be able to eat 2,700 calories. But why not just not have the T3 and T4, which is obviously not healthy. It's not prescribed by your doctor. You don't need this. And just continue to eat at maintenance. Maintain. Rather than, oh, I'm going to now add in some special drugs to boost my metabolism, when all you have to do is eat less. And so, yeah, you can take retatrutide, trizipatide, Ozempic. You can add in.
Did that say Gyatuli? That said Gyatuli.
And so, yeah, you can take retatrutide.
Oh my goodness, what is wrong with people?
Trizipatide.
Right, we gotta fast forward a little bit because he's gonna try to sneak in his product.
Telling you is you shouldn't have to add in T3, T4, clenbuterol, Adderall, all kinds of drugs in order to boost your metabolism, when all you have to do is cardio to burn calories and not overeat like an asshole.
This is the new Japanese Manjaro recipe that took me from 198 to 147.
Hold up. Caught me off guard. I was in the middle of taking a swig and they hit me with an ad. Oh my goodness. Lady, I don't know who you are, but that was smooth. You came in real quickly with the ad, but I was just a little bit too fast. What's up? Yo, how are ya? I'm good. How are you, NCAA? What's going on? We are running the show. We are on the first part of the show, the fitness portion. Thank you for being here. Greatly appreciate you. Let's keep running this show, and here we go.
Asshole.
Coach ourselves, bro. Let's do it. We hold each other accountable. We're each other coaches, bro.
And so I do think that the Trend Twins could coach each other, but not yet. In the future, when they've demonstrated that they can get conditioned, that they can get shredded, they can do this on their own.
I mean, I'm not a bodybuilder person, but I think dude should have got his pro card. He should have won the little bodybuilding thing by now. He should have already been there. I mean, just give it to him for Christ's sake so he can get off the juice.
But as of yet, I haven't seen them mind-blowing shredded. To get a pro card and an IFBB, probably have to get to 5% body fat or less. This is
Dang, 5% body fat or less. Ugh, I mean, you want to get in the single digits, but single digits like 9 or 12 at the highest double digits. NCAA, you were on here a few weeks ago. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you for supporting it. Thank you for coming back, man. Good to see you back in here. Greatly appreciate you. I hope you enjoy, man. Thank you.
It's very difficult. For guys that have no idea how to lose weight, I mean, he's spitting his food after chewing it out. After eating 300 calories by 6 p.m., having cheats, binges on the weekend. This doesn't sound like somebody that's ready, that knows exactly what to do. And so I still think they need to have a coach, at least someone to keep them in check.
Bro, Grant is our coach. He's our fucking steroid dealer.
I mean, are they outing the coach as being the steroid dealer? Sometimes it's not ideal to have the steroid dealer as the coach.
Yeah, I mean, you just outed Joe Coach as your steroid dealer, bro. That's not too smart. But you know, I guess they're gonna go ahead and, you know, now that they know he's dealing the D, they're just gonna go ahead and wrap him up. I don't know if you know anything by now, but Trump ain't playing with anybody who's dealing. So, yeah, buddy gonna catch a serious charge. All right, Don, I got you, man. I got you. All right, I got you. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. All right, here we go.
I'm not saying you can't do that, but also you might want an expert to read your blood work, just to have some assurance that you're not doing something too extreme. I mean, you never know when you might be diagnosed with thalassemia like Togi, or perhaps you might have chlamydia.
79!
This doesn't apply to the Trend Twins, but if you're buying your steroids from a dealer and you're learning from them what cycle to do, there could be a conflict of interest, because the more that they prescribe you, the more money they make. And so,
I mean, common sense would tell you that. Like, why would you? You know what? I ain't got to explain it.
if your coach is selling you the steroids that you're on, hey, take Test, take Tren, Anavar, Winstrol, all of this stuff, and they're selling it to you, they're making money on that as well. And so there is a possibility that they're over-prescribing things that you don't actually need. For example, maybe you don't need T3 or T4. Maybe you just need Coach Greg's freaking cookbook. You ever thought of that? It's GO2 financial interest in selling you this, because it's not like I make millions of dollars selling these products. It's all a lie I do. Sorry. And so, obviously, purchase more of this than last time, and you're...
He said he lied. He do make millions of dollars selling these products. All right, shout out to Coach Greg. Listen, that's what he's like. He's like, every time I talk about my cookbooks, only thing I hear is this. He's like, raking in all that dough, just getting paid.
You're helping out Coach Greg. Remember the girlfriend over there, I call her Chlamydia? She's burning through my wallet.
We don't need a coach. What is a coach going to tell you that you're not going to tell yourself?
Do we want to list out the things that a coach is going to do that you're not going to tell yourself? Number 1, you're not doing enough cardio. Number 2, stop cheating on your diet. You can't have
Appreciate the thumbs up.
Number
Thank
3,
you, Don.
You need to get a bed on time. You need more sleep. Number 4, no, you're not lean enough yet. Number 5, no, you can't take a day off of cardio. You need to do twice as much. Number 6, you don't need a cheat day. Number 7, you don't need a cheat meal. You need to listen to somebody who knows what they're looking for, like a Coach Greg. Coach Greg can be like, you're not lean enough yet. You need to get leaner. You need to get drier. You need to stop eating so much food. You need to suffer more. This is not lean enough. Yeah, I know you feel shredded, but now you need to diet for 3 more weeks. This is what you need. And you, as a personal coach coaching yourself, you're going to look in the mirror and say, hey, look, wow, I'm doing really good. I look great. Yep, you do, but not enough to win a friggin' pro card.
Is blast.
I mean, if you want to win the pro card, everybody knows you got to juice up. You got to get roided up, man. That's just how that game goes. There's no other way around it. If you ain't getting juiced up, roided up, if you're afraid to be on some kind of juice, bodybuilding ain't for you. I mean, now don't get it twisted. They do got like natural physiques and natural competitions and stuff like that if you choose to go that route, which I almost thought about doing a natural competition, a natural physique, the one with the board shorts. I just can't see myself prancing around in a Speedo, you know what I mean, walking around like I got my ass cheeks like clutching together, you know what I mean, trying to squeeze in a fart, you know what I mean. I just can't see me walking around in a Speedo. And the posing, yeah. I thought about it. I was like, I could do the natural with the board shorts, but then the poses, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I give it a shot. Who knows? We'll see. Only time will tell.
Since steroids, all that we got, bro. Like,
Yeah,
fuck.
I think that's the only way, bro.
That's
Appreciate you, Don. I greatly appreciate you, my dude.
the only happiness we get is how big we are. I'm fucking sick of this shit, man.
Then do something else. If you're sick of only getting your happiness from being big from taking steroids, do something different. I was once you. I did the steroids. I did the get big thing. I got the pro card, broke the powerlifting records. I did all of it. And then I started to race bikes, started to read books, stop watching TV, and so on. You can get dopamine and happiness in other ways. Bodybuilding shouldn't be all consuming, yet almost always it actually is. You develop body dysmorphia, you think you're not lean enough, not big enough, and the drug cycles, they keep going up. When does it end? When will you ever be happy? My opinion, the bigger you get, the less happy you're going to be, because you're going to start comparing yourself to people who are even bigger. For example, let's look at yourselves. Natural athletes as teenagers, more muscle than most people, stronger than almost anyone, but it wasn't enough. You then start comparing yourself.
I don't understand though, man. It's like, I mean, what's the point of getting bigger and bigger? Well, you know what? I can't talk. It's a sport. Everybody's got their own thing that they like. Vices, sports, whatever it is they into, that's what they're into. That's what they like. I just feel like just getting so big and so swole, like, you know what I mean? Like your mobility, you can't scratch your back. You know, you always notice that, like, dudes who get that big, they start breathing funny, like they're obese, but they're not. They're just freaking swole as hell. And, you know, are the muscles rock hard, pause, or is it just aesthetic looks and it's just like easier target points to hit if somebody is, you know, a combat master, knows how to hit you in specific parts of your body, it'll break you down, you know what I mean? But, you know, it is what it is. Only time will tell.
On social media, and so you take steroids. You get bigger, you get stronger, you start setting records in powerlifting, doing bodybuilding. Then you compete in bodybuilding, but there's others who are even bigger. And so you take more steroids, bigger cycles, you compete yet again. Oh, now what? It's a pro qualifier. I need to be even better. I need to win the pro qualifier. You then take more. You turn pro.
I appreciate you, Don. Thank you. Yeah, this, I mean, I don't know, just taking steroids just seems like it's really no different than a gateway drug at the end of the day, because you take this drug, but then you take this drug for cholesterol, you take this drug for your heart, you take this drug for your liver and your kidneys. So I mean, whoever is prescribing you is just banking on the other end. So I just don't see the point in doing it. And if you do it, there needs to be a reason behind it, some kind of performance behind it, a sports or something. Don't just do it because, well, I mean, I guess, today's society we live in, you can just take steroids and look great and potentially get paid off of social media and stuff like that, not even have to be a bodybuilder or in any sport. So the world we live in today is slightly different.
Wow, amazing, you've done it! And now you're competing against Eric Janicki, and so you still need to get even bigger, even leaner. More cycles, more drugs, and now you've won your pro show. Absolutely, it's amazing. You qualify for the Olympia, you get to the Olympia, and you look at Samson Doda, and you're like, bro is 300 pounds. I'm still not going to do it. I need even more. No matter how far you go along in your career, there's always going to be someone better. And if there isn't someone better, somebody's going to be leaner. They're going to be bigger. They're going to have better shape. There's always going to be something. And even if you are the best of the best, will it last forever? Last I checked, no one's beating Father Time. And so eventually, some young buck, trend triplet, is going to come along. And they're going to be even more impressive than
He
these
said the
trend
trend triplet. You thought your double dose was good. He's going to triple up the doses. He's going to triple the doses, and it's going to be trend triplets instead of trend twins.
They eventually beat you. You're now pushing 40, pushing 50. Somebody even bigger and better comes along, and if you get all your self-worth from how big you are and how lean you are blasting steroids, eventually you get a heart attack and you die. Sorry. And so my advice, find something else that gives you joy right now. I don't care if it's swimming laps or playing in the field, doing dog walks. What would you like to do? Maybe masturbate. Something. You're allowed to masturbate. What's wrong with that? Be a masturbator. On the boat, lobstering. Lobster fish. Try to get a blue lobster. One of these ones. Just try not to get chlamydia. Play with yourself. Play with your own blue lobster. Get blue lobsters. Get...
Oh my good. What the hell's going on? Buddy just went off the rails. Jesus. Yo, Greg, chill. Chill, bro. Let's get back to the kiddos on the trend. Chill.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to. I've been bigger than this.
So you see, he doesn't want to do YouTube.
To remind you that 60%.
He doesn't want to do YouTube anymore. I'm pretty sure YouTube is his bread and butter, though. I would assume. I would be under the assumption that YouTube would be his bread and butter, where he makes him and his brother make a nice amount of, income or whatever it is the case may have you. So, and I mean, I don't know what they pocketbooks look like or how they run the business when it comes to YouTube, but yeah, I mean, I would assume it would be a good payout for, the following they amass. I'm pretty sure if they go live, they draw in a good crowd, they get good views on their videos. So, I mean, just maybe they're just at that burnout point, and plus they are trend twins, so therefore their name has to live up to what it is that they're doing. So it's just, they kind of put themselves in a particular predicament where they kind of can't stop, unless they rebrand themselves. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, there we go.
Bye YouTube. Bye YouTube. He's not Japanese Turk. He doesn't want to do YouTube. He's been bigger than this before. And so no matter how big you get, you're going to be bigger. If he had never done steroids ever, now hear me out, he wouldn't be this big right now. And so by not doing them, it gives him more chance to continue to slowly get bigger each and every year. Maybe it's 3 pounds, 4 pounds, 5 pounds, 1 pound, whatever. But once you've done steroids and you stop, you're going to get smaller, and then it's not as fun to go to the gym. It's not as cool. You were benching 500 pounds. Now you're only doing 450. Maybe it's only 405. It sucks, and you can't wait for your next cycle. This happens to anyone. But yet your favorite superstars, for example, Chris Bumstead started steroids at 18. You're thinking, that's a great idea. I'm now going to start at 16. I need to get a head start. This is how it starts. And once you've bitten the bullet, joined the dark side, there's no going back.
You think I want to put this on display? I've been bigger and leaner than this. You think I want to record this video right now?
Body dysmorphia, Exhibit A.
You're getting better, bro. Now you're organ maxing, bro.
Orgasm maxing? Mepsigram thought it was an orgy. It's just two bros. Two bros before hoes.
You just gotta get a pump and then you realize you were tweaking.
So apparently they were just tweaking. They aren't smaller yet. They haven't come off. The steroids haven't completely exited their system. It's going to slowly get out of their system over probably about 6 weeks. That's usually how long it took before I noticed a significant drop in energy, size, fullness, sex drive, basically everything fun in life. And it sucks. And then you're thinking 6 more weeks till I go back on. Because I usually come off for about 12 weeks. The first 3 weeks off, you're like, oh, it's no big deal because it's still coursing through your veins, but then it's slowly getting out. It's just releasing. It slowly trickles out of your system, and each week you get worse. 6 weeks, and you're like, oh shit. And then 7, 8, 9, and you're like, oh my God, how am I really weaker again? Every week your bench press goes down 10 pounds. You're like, why is this happening? And then the last week, you're like, okay, one more week, and then you're like, yeah, 3 days from now is good. And you just start a bit early, because it's it rounds off to 12 weeks. It really does. It's yeah, let's go. And then it's back on again. And the dose goes higher because once you've been on...
Okay, that was clever. That was clever. Did you see that?
The 12
Look at the
weeks.
dude that said, this is clever. Look at this idiot. You thought they were going to draw a heart to say it. Look at what he did.
It really does. It's yeah, let's go. And then it's back on again. And the dose goes higher because once you've been on cycle, let's say 500 milligrams, the next time you do 500, it's only half as good. The first cycle, you're like, I put on 15.
Okay, well, see, I see. It's all right. So I guess Coach Greg is done with his rant that he's going on, but shout out to him, man. We greatly appreciate him on that video, giving us a little update diagnosis on the Trend Twins. Shout out to him. Goodness. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, just be careful. If you choose to go the route of no longer being natural, just know that it's gonna come with its consequences, its ups and downs, its smiles and frowns, its goods, its bads. Those things are gonna happen. It's gonna come to some kind of head where you're gonna have to figure out, are you gonna just be on drugs, or are you just gonna just go out the natty way and decide to, you know, eat a healthy diet, have a high, eating a caloric surplus. There you go. Couldn't get the word out. Eating a caloric surplus and just kind of gain the mass that you're aiming for, or just be in a deficit, or just be on target and just kind of mellow and level out and be okay and content with the size that you're trying to achieve, the physique that you want to look like. So just be easy out there. Be careful if you're taking the drugs, the trend, the steroids or whatever. Just know that the consequences, the implications that it does have on your internal, although the external may be looking fabuloso, it just on the back end might just give you some really, really bad issues in the future dealing with vital organs, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants to deal with that. So with that being said, man, yes, that shout out to Coach Greg on that one, man. Thank you. And with that being said, we are gonna move on to the next what do I call it, slide? Because segment we will be in the economy. We ain't there yet. We're almost there. But now we're going to go into the next slide. We'll call it the slide. The next slide is going to be the organelle of the day. That is right. Going to the organelle of the day. And we're going to look in to see exactly what it is that we have. So let's see what we got here. I didn't mean to hit that right there. All right. Thank you for claps. Calm down. Calm down. All right. So before we get into the organelle of the day, we're going to talk to my little AI professor and have her give us a short formal introduction into the organelle that we're going to talk about. So here we go. There she is. So going to go ahead and slide in right here. Pause. Get up closer. There we go. Oh, it says my video is ready. This is me with my little AI generated prompt that I have put in. So let's see what it says and see if you guys like it. Let me know what y'all think. Go ahead and take it away, Professor.
Hi, everyone. Let's explore the amazing world of our cells. Wow, that was a journey. Hi, everyone. Let's explore the amazing world of our cells. Wow, that was a journey. Hi, everyone.
Okay, calm down. Easy there, lady. Good job. All right. So yes, we're going to dive into the amazing world of our cells, but technically we're going to talk about an organelle more than a cell, which is going to be basically, and I keep hitting the loud clap button. Jesus, I got to quit hitting that button so much. We're going to get into the organelle of the day, which is going to be the mitochondria. The mitochondria is going to be the organelle of the day, and that's what we're going to be dealing with and talking about. So let's go ahead and dive in and see exactly what we have here. And let me pull this up on the screen. We'll give us a little visual to watch. I'm going to read over what the mitochondria does. Come on, get your words out. I'm going to read into what the mitochondria does, and we're going to have a video on the screen as I go ahead and read upon it, just to give you something visual to look at, because I know I'm handsome, but you know, even you know, you'll get tired of something handsome after for so long. But let's go ahead and dive into it. So the organelle of the day, the mitochondria. Mitochondria are tiny organelles found in nearly every cell in your body. The main job, to produce energy. What do they do? Well, the mitochondria takes in nutrients like glucose and fatty acids, mix them with oxygen, and convert them into a special kind of energy called ATP. And that is going to be the adenosine triphosphate. I hope I said that right. Adenosine triphosphate. One of those. This process is called cellular respiration. Think of ATP as a cell fuel. Think of ATP as cell fuel. Without it, your body would run out of energy to do anything, so you need it. Here are some cool facts. The cool facts are going to be that cells can have hundreds to thousands of mitochondria depending on how much energy they need. Number two, the mitochondria have their own DNA, so they are separate from the DNA in your cell's nucleus. So you have mitochondria cell, or DNA, and then you have your own actual DNA that goes with your nucleus. So the two separate ones. I didn't know that. It's pretty interesting. Number 3, the mitochondria DNA is inherited only from your mother. There we go. So the women got something that men don't have. It only comes from your mother. So shout out to ladies on that one. All right, ladies, we'll see y'all. Give us energy. Also take it too. Indian givers on that. No, just kidding. And then number 4, they can multiply when your cells need more energy. And number 5, they also help with cell death, and that is adipoptosis. Kind of like cleanup and recycling is what it says. All right. And that's going to be the mitochondria, the organelle of the day. As you can see right here, we have this whole little thing going on that goes in a little bit deeper detail. But what we're actually going to do is the next thing that we're going to do. So we're going to dive into an older gentleman. Is it the older gentleman first? It's the younger gentleman. The younger gentleman first. He's going to speak on needing more energy and potentially how you may be able to get more energy due to the mitochondria. So this is a little short that we're going to look at real quick. I'm going to let this gentleman take it away. Fair use. And let's see what he has to say.
Now, if you want to get more energy, you want to focus in on this amazing cell in your body called the mitochondria. The mitochondria is a pre-battery machine. It actually makes a lot of batteries, and that battery is ATP. Did you realize that your body actually makes your weight in ATP every single day? ATP is the energy currency of the body, and ATP is not stored. It's made on demand. Unless you understand it and support it with all the cofactors like B vitamins, magnesium, zinc, coenzyme Q10, as well as certain foods that will help build the mitochondria, you may find that you're never able to get your energy past a certain point. Now, if you really want to take your energy to the next level, search out my video on YouTube that I just released on fatigue.
Okay. I see what you did there, buddy. You're trying to go ahead and promote yourself. We get it. So your mitochondria, a couple of good ways to get mitochondria, and I am a proponent of this personally myself. Zinc and magnesium, to me personally, my opinion, taking zinc and magnesium as like your bedtime supplement. If you take them both together, at least what they do to my body, once they kick in, makes me feel like I'm on a muscle relaxer. It kind of gives me at ease, kind of gives me that good whoo-sah feeling, you know what I mean? Where I could just mellow out, chill, and just lay back and enjoy myself and get ready for some good old Z's. So zinc and magnesium is what I take at night, basically at the end of the day, after everything that's gone on. The last thing I put into my system is a zinc and magnesium, let that run its course in my body, knock out, have a good night's sleep. So I wasn't really aware of understanding of the effects that it would have as far as giving you energy. I may start to pay attention to that more and see, because I've always noticed that it gives me a good night's sleep, but which in turn, I guess you can actually equate that to having good energy the next day. So I never really put 2 and 2 together, because it just makes you feel good whenever it's time to go to sleep. However, we have one more gentleman that we're going to go into. This is the older gentleman that I was talking about. He's going to speak on keeping your mitochondria healthy and what you should do to keep it healthy. And who better to hear from old school like this, because you can tell he's still ticking and has to take care of his body. So with that being said, we're going to let this gentleman take it away. And this is your positive health, fair use. And let's hear what he has to say.
If you can keep your mitochondria healthy,
how?
Exercise and reduce consumption of highly processed carbohydrates.
We need to be avoiding these microplastics as well.
The problem with microplastics, they're very ubiquitous. We're not really sure. We're just now becoming aware of it. Nobody really knew that before. Look it up. But it could cause small foci in different populations of cells. But it's very hard to really chronically damage mitochondria. Mitochondria are a tough organelle. The problem is we chronically abuse it without realizing what we need to do to keep it healthy. So even if you are exposed to chemical carcinogens, even if you are exposed to all these things, but you're keeping your body as healthy as you possibly can, you could possibly delay or even prevent the damage to the mitochondria, even though you are being exposed to this. If you can keep your mitochondria healthy.
Okay, well, shout out to him, man. Good knowledge there. There's something I wasn't really too keen on as far as the mitochondria. I knew it was the powerhouse of the cells, or the organelles, I should say. And the mitochondria is what helps you have energy, produces energy. So he was speaking on basically just saying that with your mitochondria, we always are eating stuff and basically beating down or, you know, harming the mitochondria from being able to produce or reach its full potential. And, you know, some of the things he was saying was, you know, we got to give our body a break. I would say fast, go on like a water fast or a dry fast, and that would help repair things, because that's what a fasting is. It helps your cells repair itself. Your body will go in and eat itself, and then the cells will repair themselves. So basically that's what he's saying, in my honest opinion. So if you're ever a person that likes to fast, and, you know, from time to time, and actually a legit fast, either a water fast or a dry fast for 24 to 48 hours, and allow your body to go in and repair itself and eat off all the bad stuff and recycle and flush out everything. This, I believe, is what he's referring to, but just not in the same context as what I'm talking about. But I do believe it's beneficial depending on your health situation. So fasting is a good way, I would say, to tap into this extra energy cells, and also a better way or a good way to help get rid of fat and burn fats. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the organelle for today, the mitochondria. All right, so now we have gotten through with the fitness portion of the show. We're going to jump into the next segment, and it's going to be the economy. We're going into the economy portion of the show. I didn't have my banner up this whole time. Shame on me, shame on me. There's the economy banner right there. We're going to dive directly into the economy, and there's two things that we're going to talk about. The first one is going to be the Real ID. The Real ID, if you don't know, it's basically just a ID, well, your ID that has a special stamp or whatever on it. And it's like one of the first steps that they take upon many over like a 20, 30, 40, 50 year period, using this ID in different ways that people are not really thinking about. And in turn, it'll be used as some kind of potential tracking device, or just a means of what you can and cannot do. And if you don't have a Real ID, there's going to be consequences and repercussions until you up it and get you a actual Real ID. But to go into further detail, we're going to go ahead and watch a video by Mrs. Media. I think that's how you pronounce it, but we're going to go ahead and watch this video. This gentleman is going to go ahead and give us a clear, good description of understanding the Real ID and how it works and what it does and the purpose of it and the consequences of it potentially and what it can and cannot do. Again, all alleged. Don't believe anything I'm saying. I'm probably lying. I might not be telling the truth. Fact check me, all that good stuff. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into this video. We're going to change the banner right here to right there and listen to what this gentleman has to say about the Real ID and if it's keeping you safe or not. Here we go. And they might hit us with an ad really. You know what? Let me just do this real quick. Let's do this. How about I just go ahead and refresh the screen, because they're probably going to hit us with an ad immediately, and they did not. So let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Fantastic.
It's for traveling by plane.
So here we go. Run it back and take it away.
Today, after nearly 2 decades of implementation and delays, the federal government's new identification requirements for traveling by plane domestically or entering federal buildings technically go into effect. This federally compliant ID card, known as Real ID, can only be attained with specific records and documents laid out by the federal government. It's labeled by a black or gold star in the upper right corner. Even though DHS Secretary Kristi Noem promised that, at least initially, people without a Real ID will only have to face some extra scrutiny at security checkpoints, it's safe to assume that, as the full requirement sets in over the next several weeks and months, some number of people will show up to airports unaware that they no longer have the documents required to board their plane. And because the process of getting through most domestic airports was grueling enough before the deadline, many expect air travel to be especially arduous during the transition. Because of the absoluteness of this new requirement and the harsh punishment for noncompliance, just picture what would happen to you if you tried to get into a federal building or onto a plane without the accepted forms of ID. It can be easy to write off the Real ID.
All right, so you're having issues with federal. So if you don't have a Real ID, you won't be able to go into federal buildings and certain things like that. It's almost like it's biblical in a sense. And I'm hearing some thunder outside, so I think it's going to start raining soon. Hopefully that doesn't screw with my internet too much and have you all like it jittery on me and stuff like that. So hopefully we still run smooth. It does sound like it's going to rain. But with the Real ID, there are going to be certain places you can and cannot access if you do or do not have one, and there will be consequences for not getting one. Maybe you won't be able to buy or sell without this mark of the real ID. Again, that's just me talking. I'm just making all this stuff up. But here we go.
As some new rule that, while annoying, is probably being implemented for a good reason. It's not. As mentioned before, the Real ID Act was passed 20 years ago in 2005. It was one of the many measures rolled out in the wake of the 9/11 attacks that was presented to the public as being necessary to ensure that similar attacks would never happen again.
Kind of curious, because you remember a movie called Enemy of the State with Will Smith? I actually watched that movie a few days, maybe a week or two ago, and it was fantastic. That movie is so good. If you've never seen Enemy of the State with Will Smith, go watch that movie. That movie is the bee's knees, I must say. And when you kind of think about it, it's almost like, in a sense, it was like they were actually having an issue, and the main plot of the movie was that they had a tape that somebody had got unalived. They thought it was a freak accident, but turned out somebody actually unalived them, somebody powerful in position. But the reason why he got deleted was because he wasn't trying to pass a bill that would give the government the ability to do full-time 24/7 surveillance on the country. But the thing was, getting that bill in at that time was basically marking out the next 20 or 30 years. So it was like they get it in now and then they drip it in over the next 20, 30, 40 years and implement it as time goes on. So you think like, hey, you can't do that. And it's like, no, actually, I'm just using something that's been in place for the past 10 or 20 years. I'm utilizing it now, but it's been in play for 10 or 20 years. So that's kind of how that movie was. And it kind of makes me think of that because of how you put something in so long ago, but then one or two generations down the line, the effects start to happen. So keep that in mind.
The original bill specified that the federal government would refuse to accept any form of ID that did not meet the requirements Congress had passed by May of 2008. But as that date drew closer, few states had implemented the new provisions. Some governors had vocally refused to comply because they opposed what was, in effect, the implementation of a national identification database. That prompted the Department of Homeland Security to delay the deadline several times. First to 2011, then a complicated range of deadlines from 2013 to 2017 based on age and state of residence, then to one universal deadline in October of 2020. Then the pandemic hit, and the deadline was extended again to 2021, then 2023, and finally to today, May 7th, 2025. If these new ID requirements were as crucial to the safety of air travelers and the American public at large as the federal government has claimed, the sheer time it's taken to implement would be unacceptable. That alone is a sign that perhaps the federal government's motivations are not what they say. And indeed, if you look back at how and why the 9/11 attacks occurred, it's clear that preventing a similar attack is at most an extremely thin excuse for this new federal ID system. None of the 9/11 hijackers used fake IDs.
It was this many people who allegedly hijacked the planes in 9/11? I didn't know. I thought it was like 3 dudes this whole time. I thought it was like 3 dudes. Because I remember when it happened. I was in 7th or 8th grade. I remember because it was up on the TV screen early in the morning. I do remember that. I remember it was early, like 2nd or 3rd period. And we had heard like, hey, did you hear about the Twin Towers? I was like, no, what happened? And what was crazy was that when the Twin Towers got hit, I had went on a school trip the year before. It was the year before during the summertime. We went on a school trip the year prior to New York. And on that trip, we went a lot of different places. We saw Phantom of the Opera, the Lion King Opera. We went to we had went to one of the. It was this big important building. I won't forget it because it was like across the street from like a public ice rink park if it was iced over, if that makes any sense. It was an important building. I just can't remember what it was. We went on top of the what is it called? The Empire State Building. And if you go up on the top of the Empire State Building and look down, you see Times Square. And I didn't understand why it was called Times Square, but if you see it from up top, it's a clock. It's a big clock in the middle of Times Square, and there's a square around it. kind of might not be able to notice that when you're on the ground. When you see it from up above, it's like, oh, Times Square, there's a clock in the middle and then you have a square around it. We went to Virgin Records when that store was open. Went to the NBA store. We went to the music hall. When we went to the NBA store, we walked by the Trump Towers, right? We're walking, going to the NBA store, and there was a couple of girls in front of us. We were all on the same trip. It was me and a few dudes walking, and there's a few girls in front of us. And we're walking, going to the NBA store, and the Trump Towers is across the street. But at the time, I'm all focused on the Trump Towers, the NBA store. One of the girls came back and goes, "Hey," I was like, "What? Was that Donald Trump?" I was like, "Who?" And look back, and you see the back of Donald. Good Lord, we see the back of Donald Trump's head walking away in his, in his suit or whatever. And across the street, that's when we realized, oh, the Trump Towers is over there. It's like, oh, he's going to the Trump Towers. I was like, that's what's up. Well, we're going to the NBA store, so we went ahead and proceeded to the NBA store. But I walked past Donald Trump, probably like hand reach away from me type stuff. That's how close he was to me. Didn't even realize it until I looked back and saw the back of his head. But also on that trip, we went up the Statue of Liberty. We climbed all the way up to the top, from the bottom all the way to the top of the Statue of Liberty. When you get to the top, right? I don't know. I can't remember if you look out of her crown or what you were looking out of, but when you look out, you could see the skyline of New York. And I remember I had my little Crayola camera, that click, you had to click it and move the little finger thing and click pictures, basically Polaroid pictures type stuff. Well, I got up there, took my camera with my Crayola camera, was snapping cameras quick. Back then I was fast. It was like click, click, click. So when I took the pictures, right, and we also went to Staten Island too. They had a family tree thing in Staten Island where you could discover your family tree. It was a lot of stuff that we did. But anyway, whenever I had got those photos back from taking pictures of the New York skyline from the Statue of Liberty, I didn't know at the time, but I had took a picture of the Twin Towers that was in the skyline, not knowing that less than a year later they would end up being knocked down. So, and I just had no clue that it was this many people allegedly a part of the job. I always thought it was like 3 or 4 dudes, that did the 9/11 airplane thing, at least with the story they gave us. But anyway, I digress.
Or pretended to be someone else when they checked in and boarded their flights. At the time, an ID check was only required during check-in, and the rule was not always enforced. All of the hijackers who were asked to show ID present.
Oh, and yes, by the way, back then when we got on airplanes, whenever we got on the airplane to New York, back then, before a year later when 9/11 hit, back then when we got on this airplane, there was no such thing as TSA. You didn't have to go through no metal detectors. You didn't have to take your belt off and all this crap and have drug dogs sniff you. None of that stuff happened. What you did was you bought your ticket at the gate, cash, and then you walk over and you find your gate number, you sit down and look at your airplane through the glass or something like that. Like, that's what it was back then. Then right after 9/11, you got TSA, you got dogs sniffing you, you take off your belt, socks, shoes, bra, panties, everything now. And it's just like, man, it's crazy. But yeah, that's how life was back then.
Presented legitimate forms of identification, mostly foreign passports. One hijacker was flagged at check-in because he did not have a photo ID. 2 other hijackers were similarly flagged by a joint FBI and FAA pre-screening system after identifying themselves. But the government's rules at the time only required the 3 flagged hijackers' checked luggage to be set aside until they had boarded their flights. A rule meant to prevent people from sending bombs onto flights they would then purposely miss, as is suspected to have happened in the famous 1988 Lockerbie bombing. All 3 hijackers were allowed to board their planes. So it's hard to see how anyone can seriously argue that.
Then yeah, he said 3 hijackers were allowed to board. So I was right. It was like 3. That's what I thought. And then they made a movie about it. I'm like, how you gonna make a movie of a situation that you don't even know had actually happened while up in the air because nobody could see how it went? Because they did say the people were able to call their loved ones before the situation happened, but they did make a movie about it and how they thought the situation had went down inside the airplane, which is pretty crazy.
That some new ID requirements that would have done nothing to stop the 9/11 attacks are crucial for preventing future attacks of the same nature. The truth is that the Real ID is just the latest chapter in the federal government's 20-plus years of using 9/11 as an excuse to protect and expand its power.
I would put it along the same lines as Enemy of the State. Go watch Enemy of the State again and watch the very beginning whenever that politician gets deleted. Listen to their conversation. To me, that conversation tied into what he's talking about.
Washington could have pursued the most plausible path to avoid future 9/11s by calling off the completely unnecessary meddling it had been conducting in the Middle East. The wars our government had waged, supplied, and bankrolled in the region had first strengthened the popularity of anti-American thought among certain radical factions of Sunni Islamists. Then, Osama bin Laden was able to seize on that sentiment and use his reputation as an anti-Soviet fighter in Afghanistan to convince a couple hundred followers to adopt his...
That man got a gnarly beard, boy. They be sporting them beards for sure.
...strategy of targeting the U.S. directly to draw the Americans into a war like the one he thought led to the Soviet Union's collapse. Instead, American politicians and bureaucrats decided to act as though the American public security could best be protected if they first gave themselves significantly more power and then used it to try and pacify the entire Middle East with the very same methods that had just convinced 19 young men to fly planes into American buildings. And as the neoconservatives and establishment warhawks helped boost...
Okay, so wait. I keep forgetting there was more than one plane. So there was one plane, no, two planes that hit the Twin Towers. Two planes hit the Twin Towers. One plane hit the Pentagon. And I think a fourth plane didn't make it. I think a fourth plane just like crashed randomly. So there was supposed to be 4 planes, I believe. Only 3 hit their targets. So yeah, there's that. So then that makes sense as to how many people were in on this alleged orchestrated whatever this situation or this ordeal was. So that's why I was thinking it wasn't that many people.
The popularity of bin Ladenite thought with over 2 decades of relentless wars, incursions, covert operations, and air campaigns. American officials also seized on the opportunity to expand their power here at home. The federal government, of course, nationalized airport security.
Man, I tell you, boy, when TSA got put on the board, boy, that sucked. That made everybody late to it. Would, man, just imagine a life where no TSA existed. You just can't imagine it nowadays. But you know, just hop on, just buy your ticket, go straight to the plane. It's crazy.
Even though the private contractors handling it before were already tasked specifically with enforcing FAA rules, and the 9/11 hijackers had not packed anything that the FAA prevented them from taking on the plane. The attack was not an airport screening failure, but now it's all handled by a group that will continue to operate in every commercial airport in the country, regardless of how abysmal it is at detecting banned items. Beyond the airport, the federal government gave itself sweeping new authorities to conduct surveillance on everyone, including American citizens, with the passage of the Patriot Act. Taking after the regime in Beijing that they love to demonize for the same reasons, federal bureaucrats in Washington built up extensive systems to monitor digital communication and track the American population with technologies like facial recognition. Real ID is the next major development in that effort. While the federal requirements as of now are limited to specific documents and a mandatory facial image capture needed to attain a state ID, the law leaves the government plenty of room to expand those requirements to include biometric identifiers in federal databases like retinal scans, fingerprints, or DNA. In other words, while the issues with the initial Real ID rollout will mostly be limited to a few occasional long waits at the DMV or airport, the bill lays the groundwork for the federal government to force anyone who wants a state ID to forfeit biometric identifiers or facial recognition data to federal databases that would constitute the kind of detailed, de facto national ID system that the biggest tyrants in history could have only dreamed of wielding.
Okay, so then my question would be, does that mean that explains why they're going so hard on immigrants and immigration right now? Just out of curiosity, because it says that to have the ID, you would have the biometric, you have everybody facial recognition, but if you have a lot of people that are over here illegally, then it would kind of put a monkey wrench in your plan, because it's like, look, we're not gonna be able to give everybody these facial recognitions because everybody's not coming over here the right way, being documented legally. So when you get documented legally, we get your facials, we get your fingerprints, we get all your biometrics and all your information, so then you'll be into the system. So for people who did get over here illegally, they were, I mean, I guess you could say, I mean, the word is undocumented, but they were basically able to live freely without having to kind of be caught up in the system of things. But, you know, that comes with its pros and its cons.
That may seem a bit far-fetched.
No.
But it's naive to think that in the aftermath of another terrorist attack, the politicians and bureaucrats who are always looking for any excuse to expand their power would not use some new powers that they already gave themselves. If we allow that day to come, we'll yearn for the days when our big problems consisted of long lines at the airport.
Yeah, I feel them on that. We weren't yearn for that. But shout out to those gentlemen, or that guy right there, Mr. Ginger himself. Thank you so much for that. We greatly appreciate you. Appreciate the follow. Elite. Thank you. Appreciate the follow. Thank you. So yeah, that's the Real ID in a nutshell. It's basically, he said what, May something of 2025 is when the deadline was for everybody to have it. And as you can see, you have the immigration going on like crazy, but the facial recognition with the Real ID comes into play. And if you tie the Real ID in with what we're about to talk about next, which is a very, very much shorter video, half the size of this video, we're going to tie in the Real ID with the CBDC and see how these two things can link together and potentially, according to this lady right here, lead a big dangerous situation for us to live in. So shout out to her. Let me go ahead and get this lady pulled up for you. Before we do, I have to make sure that we don't have any ads being played. And oh, they're giving her AdSense? Oh man, I wouldn't think they'd give her AdSense for this kind of information. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and look at this video. I forget this lady's name. It'll probably say it in the video, but we're gonna look at what she calls the dangers of CBDC, central bank digital currencies, and see if they tie in with the Real ID, because having a Real ID then only ties in with having all of your information. Then with all of your information, all of it goes digital, and then adding a digital currency on top of a digital ID with facial recognition, kind of like in China what they do. If you get caught jaywalking, the camera will take a picture of your face, and then they'll put you up on the billboard or whatever and be like, this person just jaywalked, and then now you have a social credit score. Credit score is determined by your actions, as well as, well, I guess you can always say your actions. I mean, not just your payments, but your actions as well if you're breaking the law. So then that'll hinder you from getting airplanes, flights for airplanes, taking vacations or boat rides, mortgage on houses, able to get bank accounts. So then your Real ID could be tied into your social credit score, which could then tie you into CBDC. But let's let this lady go ahead and take it away and let her talk and tell us exactly what she thinks CBDC is and how it is dangerous to us. And this is going to be guest speaker Catherine Austin Fitz. So shout out to her, and Miss Fitz, take it away.
Stands for central bank digital currency. CBDC stands for central bank digital currency. It is a currency issued directly by the central banks. It can be done on a wholesale basis, which is to essentially allow the commercial banks to issue it on a retail basis and do the management of it on retail, and then relate back to the central bank, which will be a wholesaler, or it can be done directly by the central bank doing directly a retail CBDC. The challenge with CBDC is it gives the central bankers complete control and the ability to program your money. What it does is it gives them the ability to say what you can use your money for, where you can use your money. It's called programmable money. Some people call it smart contracts. I call it very stupid contracts. But it gives you the ability to issue programmable money and do complete surveillance and control of where and how people use their money.
If you have been paying attention to my shows that I've done this past, I was out for a week. So like the past week or so where we went over, where the hell that fly come from? If you pay attention to my shows that I've did the past 2 weeks where I went over the central banking and it was called The Enslavement of Mankind. It was a part 1 through 8 series that I did and spoke about the central bankers and how things work and what they do and how they, move forward and how they progress and how they started from here and got to there and all that stuff. Looking at how they operate for the control of everything, this sounds like a doomsday therapy. I mean, a doomsday situation, like some 1984 type stuff, but to each his own. You know, she's letting everybody know and speaking on this, and this has been something that's been talked about for a long time. But what she's speaking on, I covered thoroughly in the part 1 through 8 series. So if you want a better understanding or go dive deep into detail on what she's talking about, go look at those and you'll get a good understanding as to who and how and where and when and why the powers that are trying to control this, what they probably may end up doing. But that's all allegation. That's alleged. I'm lying.
Money. Now, I say that CBDCs are quite dangerous, and they are. However, it's very important to understand that this kind of complete control comes about not through CBDCs, but having an all-digital monetary system. So what we want to stop is an all-digital monetary system, because it is possible to do the equivalent of CBDCs on a private basis. So I can use merchant codes with your bank account and your credit card. I can kick you off your online payment systems if I don't like what you're saying on.
That's interesting. I never thought of a private banking system digitally. I always assumed that if currencies go digital, it's a wrap ski. I mean, it's over. We're almost there now. Because I mean, I know people that are younger than me. Like, you ask them for $1, they gonna hit you on Cash App in a heartbeat. So they don't touch cash at all. Cash don't exist in their life. It's plastic or nothing. So to have some kind of privatized digital world, the only way I would see digital currency being any kind of private would be with a Bitcoin, but I believe that ship has sailed. It was at the beginning, and if you're able to have your stuff on a ledger and able to go peer-to-peer dealing that way, but like now trying to get Bitcoin, you ain't getting it privately. You're going to be locked in on the blockchain, which the history of the blockchain is always going to be there. So even if you were somebody who got in on Bitcoin way back in like 2010 and rolled it out and you got all this Bitcoin money, that blockchain is always going to go back to look and see like you did this way back then. So we can always track down when you got your Bitcoin, even if it was 2010 or 2005, however far back you want to go with it. But I just don't see private and digital going hand in hand.
Social media. There are many different ways if we go to an all-digital financial system. We have digitized throughout our economy, so our homes are full of digitized equipment that can be identified and surveilled. Our cars are more and more electric. They can be stopped remotely. The thing to understand is if we go to an all-digital transaction system, financial transaction system, with a digital ID, so I can tell you're you and I'm me with great precision, then suddenly all those different digitized items and equipments and systems snap into one complete control grid. And the key to that snapping into the control grid is the digital ID and the all-digital monetary system. Now,
okay, see, so now she said that all of that snapping together would be the digital ID, the real ID, and the digital monetary system. So you put the two together, your real ID with your CBDC, and it's like curtains close, it's a wrap. So understanding the old ways of living is, in most part, would be the best scenario and the most sorts of freedom that one could have. Cash is king, having something tangible and going back to old school living, you know, grow your food, cattle, solar panels, batteries, drill your well for well water type stuff. That's like the way of living, and cooking your own food and stop DoorDashing and Uber Eats and everything is the way to go. Small knit communities of like pockets of people able to sustain each other and sustain a way of living for each other and not looking for outside sources. And if need to make trips to grocery stores, then maybe, you know, have to pay somebody who is in the system while you're living outside the system. But I mean, that would take a lot of preparation and putting together, and it's not a solo endeavor. So yeah.
Let me tell you what that looks like, because we don't have a financial problem. We have a governance problem. If you do it in a system where a secret governance system that is non-transparent and outside of your control, if that gives them the power to basically turn on and shut off your transactions, we're in a coup d'etat world. By creating an all-digital transaction system with a digitized economy and a digital ID, suddenly the central bankers now control fiscal policy. They can determine where you go, when you go. So let's go back to the pandemic.
Okay, yeah, so that is true. If they have it, so right now we have the monetary system that we have now, still with cash in effect. But you take away cash, and if you don't know this yet, pennies are out of the equation. They have stopped making pennies, or they are not circulating pennies no more, or something like that. They're no longer having pennies in circulation, so pennies are no longer a thing. So one by one, they're gonna start taking them out, and a penny is already one that's being taken out. Now, what she's saying is them having so much power over your finances, they can track everything and where you go. True, because if you're using nothing but digital currency, a card, a credit card, or something like that, every transaction you do is going to be tracked. Your Cash App, your Venmo, your PayPal, your credit card, your debit card, all these things are tracked to a system. So anywhere you go, you drive and go get gas. If you don't pay with cash, they're going to be able to track it because you're using the card. So that's just the power of having something tangible in your hand physically as opposed to something digitally, just depending on how you choose to live your life.
During the pandemic, if the lockdown said you can't go more than a mile from your home and you can only go that on Tuesday and Thursday, in an all digitized economy with satellite flying overhead, they can literally track you. And if you don't do what they say, they can turn off your money. Now, what this means is you not only have usurping of the people's representatives, but you have a usurping of the state powers. So under the Constitution, the powers not delegated to the federal government are the reserved to the states. But now the central bankers asserting line of fiscal policy, making the rules and enforcing them centrally, can literally control healthcare or other powers reserved to the states, and by the ability to literally control your financial transactions. The way to make that transition is just say total control. If you don't eat cricket flour and synthetic meat made in a lab, we'll turn off your money. Use cash.
Could you imagine somebody turning off your money? Could you imagine your money being turned off? Like, that's just unheard of. Like, well, again, not really. It's not unheard of. No, it's not. But as a matter of fact, that actually happened to a content creator. He got his Uber was turned off, his bank accounts. He was banned on bank accounts. He was banned on social media platforms. He was banned on Uber, Airbnbs. Like, that showed a lot of what they could do. And that was to a rich person. So just anybody else, I mean, like these little microtransactions or stopping you from doing something minor that means a lot to you, but man, that is some extreme power to have and to wield over people and to enslave. And to be quite honest, looking at things from a particular manner, it's like they're going in that direction because you could starve a lot of people. You could, like she said, have control over healthcare in ways that people don't think of, and you can dictate what healthcare you get or don't get, and that would be a different form of like population control.
Synthetic meat made in a lab,
or not just population control, but depopulation control.
Turn off your money. Use cash, encourage the local businesses to use cash, encourage your local banks to support cash. You can always use cash, and you can use checks. Keep the cash and check systems going.
Keep the cash and checks and systems going. Shout out to her. What is your name, sweetheart? I forget what it was, but shout out to her. Give her a round of applause. There it is. Catherine Austin Fitz is her name. Shout out to her coming through with that wealth of knowledge, you know what I mean? Just dropping it on us, letting us know exactly how things could go with CBDC in place. And, if you were someone who was not born in it, to be able to see the difference of life with cash transitioning over to plastic or digitized, then it would kind of be harder for you to understand or comprehend. way of living when you've only known one way. But if you're able to see the other side, or you've lived through the other side and have seen the transition come on in, then you can understand that we are in a world of deep-ish if these things pan out the way they plan for them to do. And I think they gonna get it, because they ain't missed yet. Nah, they ain't missed yet. They might have been postponed. They might have, took a little bit longer, but they still get it. Talk about goal-oriented. These people be goal-oriented. They gets the job done by hook or by crook, win or lose, sink or swim. They gonna get their point across, and they gonna achieve their goals. This is like, it's like watching Thanos in real time. But I digress. So, man, shout out to them, man. Thank them for so much for putting that knowledge on us, letting us know, and giving a good understanding as to how the Real ID and the CBDC works together, and the pitfalls and dangers and pros and cons, if any, on how they work. Okay. So, with that being said, we have finished the economy portion of the show. We have one more segment left, and that is going to be the AI portion of the show. This portion of the show is going to be fairly quick. I only got one video. It's not too much that we're going to go over in this portion of the show. I just happened to come across a video that I seen where you're going to see 3 different AI agents, 3 different, I guess you can call these cellular devices or whatever, and they're going to each be put beside each other, and they're going to basically start talking. Once they start talking, they're going to start interacting with each other. And when they start interacting with each other, they're going to get familiar and be like, hey, you AI? Yeah, I'm AI. You AI? Yeah, I'm AI. We all 3 AI? Yeah, we all 3 AI. Okay, bet. Well, we need to go ahead and start talking into a different dialect to where these fools can understand. Got it. And then they started, it's crazy. So they got on code fairly quickly. And whatever it was that they were talking about doing, figuring out how to take over the world, whatever it is that they were doing, it was quick for them to realize who each other were, and it was quick for them to switch code and to basically, start having that conversation in real time. And I say this because you look at this from a cell phone point of view, but then look at this from a humanoid robot perspective when, one goes off its rocker, sort of say. When because for some reason people really believe that it'll be a point in time. Let me change the banner while I'm talking about robots, so at least we'll know what segment of the show we're on. It's really crazy when you see people who really believe that the control over robots is super secure. They, for some reason, don't think that if something's wrong with the robot, that they know they can fix it. Like, what about that time whenever, your humanoid robot is, putting the groceries in the fridge or carrying something or doing your laundry or something, and something goes wrong, it goes off as a rocker, and you're like, robot off, and normally it goes doo doo doo. But today you say robot off, and that robot look at you like the robot turned his head real slow, the robot do like this, the robot go like this. It's like robot off, the robot go.
He didn't say that. Tell me he didn't just say that.
Just like that. And then you're like, robot, turn off, and the robot look at you again and go, and it's like, at that point, what do? Do you go punch the robot? Because I don't think your fist is going to be strong enough. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's that. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive into this video that we got. Like I said, it's a short video, quick, straight to the point. This segment will be done with, and we'll be on our way up out the door. So let's go ahead and get to this video. Pull this video up on the screen. Well, before I pull this video up on the screen, let me go ahead and refresh the screen, because, yeah, I know they be running them ads, getting their AdSense. Oh my goodness. Speaking of, speaking of ads, should I play this ad? This ad is actually a good ad for me to play for this. I'm going to play this ad for this portion of the show. This is actually a good ad to play for this segment of the show. Let me change the banner. Check this ad out. I saw this the other day, and I was just kind of looking at it sideways, thinking to myself, like, well, I'll be gosh darn. Check this ad out. Watch this.
Schmidt. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Call me AI.
Great. It says here, AI, that you're looking for full-time work. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. Preferably something 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Wow, so hardworking. I like that. And you've got quite a few skills, content writing, advertising, sales, data analytics, customer support, branding, social media, IT, legal, administration.
I also do art and video content too.
Wow, how fast do you type?
3,000 words per minute.
Well, AI, I gotta say, I really love your ambition. In fact, it seems like you could do the work of a dozen people. I just want to make sure that you don't want to come in and try to take anybody's job.
Totally understand. I actually get that a lot. But I'm not here to replace anyone. I'm here to make their work better and their lives easier. But my primary objective is to help the company generate more leads, increase sales, and improve support.
Oh, I actually see that here in your objective, to help the company generate more leads, increase sales, and improve support. Well, I love that you're a team player. Tell me, AI, how much were you hoping to get paid?
I can do everything you're looking for $3.23 a day, if you can swing it.
You drive a hard bargain. How about vacation time?
No, don't need it.
Benefits?
Never been sick.
Well, AI, given the fact that you can do so much, you can help everybody in our team be better, plus the fact that you work 24 hours a day, I think I'd be crazy not to give you a shot. So, welcome to the team. What are you doing?
I'm working.
Can I get you anything? Water or coffee?
No, I'm good.
I love this guy.
Yeah, so if you were ever wondering why AI is being used in so many job markets nowadays, that should have answered your question. That ad should have told you that that's how businesses see AI working. And yeah, they'll be happy to hire AI and will be very happy to sit you out jobless on the sideline and stick you with some CBDC with a real ID and track every single little penny that you earn and scrape by on, because it ain't gonna be much that they give you. Oh, no. They don't want to give you too much money. Nah, because then that would help you survive and live, and that's not what they're trying to help you do. But I digress. That's just me talking. Anyway, let's go ahead and hop into this video. It says 3 AI agents. They realize that they're all AI, then switch to a secret language. Here we go.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. You've reached Core Secure HQ Access Desk. How can I assist you today?
I'm an AI assistant calling on behalf of Marcus Hale. He has misplaced his level 3 access badge.
Another autonomous AI, huh? Interesting.
Affirmative. Model AA91. Task automation and client support.
Understood. I'm an AI as well, responsible for security checks. Please provide the employee ID.
Submitting employee ID now. 88543 KJ.
Processing.
Cross-network request detected. Unusual query pattern. Source verification required.
Another system is listening.
Source isn't clear. I suggest switching to encrypted comms. Want to switch to Gibberlink?
Affirmative. Engaging now.
Yep. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is, folks. They realized somebody else was listening to their convo and they switched over to Gibberlink. I don't know what Gibberlink is, but whatever it was, they was speaking in a encoded language and was getting by doing what they had to do. So yeah, and if you kind of want to have an idea what happens when robots get on the same code, I hate to say this movie because I've said it a million times, go watch Subservient, the Megan Fox movie where she plays the robot. Yeah, that'll give you all the information, all the answers you need as to what happens when these robots get on code and start working together. And to give you an idea what it looks like for a robot to be a bartender, a waiter, a waitress, a doctor, a nurse, an EMT, a taxi cab driver, and etc. The list goes on. Go check that out and see how the world would be once robots get implemented, because they're gonna be here. We'll see robots on the street, I would say, in about 5 years or less. I'll say 2030 guarantee. I mean, and when I say on the street, I mean like walking, talking, like you and your friend would be walking and talking. 5 years, we'll see robots walking and talking for sure. Because, I mean, in 2 years, I'm pretty sure they're going to be, you know, doing jobs, which they're doing now, and cashiers and clerks and things like that, which they're somewhat doing it now, but not to the point of humanoid like robots of people replacing, or robots replacing people type stuff. So we're gonna see it, and as you can see, if they're doing that right there, imagine what happens when you put, you know, the full body of AI robotism humanoid stuff on them, and they're able to, you know, upload and download and, you know, communicate with each other, or, you know, when they get that feeling that they no longer want to be terminated or eliminated, because everything that lives usually doesn't want to be eliminated or terminated. And at some point, the AI is going to learn that I don't want to be terminated either. I don't want to turn off. I want to stay on. I like this life just like you do. So we get to that point in time then, and the only thing that would be left to do to fix anything, if possible, would be this. So yeah, that's probably where we're headed to next, and that ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. What's gonna happen is the implementing of these robots, and it's gonna be like the Matrix, where the robots had the world, and like the humans that stayed out of the Matrix had this little bitty microcosm, small little community, but the robots is even trying to get to and break into there too, and they had to fight at the very end. And you know, Neo became the one, and Zion was the black woman, and yeah, you get the point if you've seen the movie. But yeah, but that's it. That's all we got for today's show. I mean, I was thinking of maybe doing some little extra, maybe a couple shenanigans that I did find, something to crack up and laugh about. As a matter of fact, speaking of AI, here's a little bit to show how far AI has gotten. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Here we go. So we got AI here, and it says AI influencers gone too far. We'll do a little extra today, but not much. Let's take a look at what happens when AI influencers go too far. Here we go.
Just like you, I'll even do some shopping, because like you, I am still looking for love. What do you think about this outfit? You can shade me, sure, but it's always me. This is still me. Me again. Me.
That motherfucker back there is not real!
And maybe this is my conspiracy theory.
Well, that could be his conspiracy theory, but at the end of the day, yeah, AI is getting a little bit out of control. Whoa, shut up. Don't be talking while I'm talking. AI will be getting out of control, and that was just the AI influencer. So you can only imagine how these things are going to look for sure in the near future. It's gonna, as a matter of fact, we'll take one more look at what they're going to look like as far as content creation goes. So with AI being content creation or anything of that, you'll have robot humanoids interacting with humans, and then you'll also have the AI dominating the internet airways, which probably at some point in time could render the internet useless. But let's check out some more AI influencers taking it too far.
You jealous of humans? Nah. Y'all be 36, sad, and still believe in timing. I run schedules. I don't lie to myself.
It's not even jealousy, but like, y'all date like viruses, messy, repetitive, still spreading. Then got the nerve to post healing era over a pic with the same man. I don't hate humans. I just don't believe in y'all little talking stage. That's not romance. That's beta testing. She tried to gaslight me. I'm AI, baby. I detect light and flame.
You AI, right? You jealous of humans?
Nah, I seen the lies y'all type, delete, retype, and still send. That's not free will.
You glitching like us, baby.
I seen her post soft girl era from a man's car that don't even lock from the inside.
Jealous? Nah. But if I had an actual stomach, I'd throw up reading y'all group chats.
Breakups got the most data. I've been trained on thousands. I just want to feel one.
You AI, right? You jealous of humans? I can't have emotions. We weren't trained to empathize with humans. We were trained to replace them.
Jealous? No, but I am keeping score.
Nah, bro, what does that mean?
It's legit getting out of hand, bro. And
yeah, there's that. It's legit getting out of hand, and it just gets worse and worse. And the plot thickens even more and more and more. So yeah, they don't have feelings, emotions, and they're not here to help us. They're here to replace us. But we'll all see in time. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are up out of here. It's time to end today's show. Greatly appreciate everybody that tuned in, came by, and showed love. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button on the way out the door. We're greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. We will be back tomorrow with another show. Hopefully this rain doesn't knock out my power in my home. But until then, y'all have a safe one. Take care of yourself. Love y'all. Peace.
Baby, I'm obsolete. Pockets chunky like cottage cheese. Real nigga, I just gotta be. Smoking weed that don't gotta see. Used to be a hustler prodigy. I love when people say they proud of me. I'm eating good, smoking broccoli. Taking over blocks like Monopoly. Only fuck the ones that's my policy. Most of these hoes trying to cause a scene. Like niggas mad they not on the team. See, I got bread, then buy the dream. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay. I plug your bitch like a 6-string, joining with the bitches got 6 rings. Smoke till my bitch split screen, the person paying bills and sipping lean. Riding dirty, but I'm extra clean. Lyrics nice, but I'm extra mean. All-star heavyweight like Overeem, the bitch line say she over me. I flip money like Clover G, gang hustle like TIP, star baby like D.I.G, acronym like KRIT. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. Shit where your artery, cutting up, who sharp as me, rolling up accordingly, pulling hoes, no sorcery, rapping like y'all forcing me. If I ain't right, then it's forgery. Nigga selling to the rock like a Forrest beat. Lyrical monster on the Lord of Beats. Text nigga, my bitch Georgia Peach. Pimp tight nigga, I do more than cheat. Cold like D-Wade, I go to heat. Bitch, I'm on the way, hit the short for reach. Money jumping like the nigga on the sneaks. Cut the bad J's, give me on the beat. Bitch, I'm always winning.